YouTube, how's it going? The Goat House is back with our Week 8 score predictions and picks against the spread. We'll go game by game with my score predictions, take a look at the lines. At the end of the video, I've added all my picks against the spread for the week. The picks against the spread have been going better than the straight-up picks, that's for sure this year. It's been an interesting year, but excited to break it down. We do this video every single Wednesday afternoon. We have straight-up picks with other members of the Goat House already up, power rankings, trade deadline videos, more coming as well. So join us, like, subscribe, turn notifications on. Any link you're looking for, Twitter, Picks League, our sponsors, GLD Shop, Liquid IV, which we have code GOAT for. Links pinned in the comments. I'm rocking the Buffalo Bills helmet chain from the GLD Shop. Real gold, very affordable. All NFL teams have some NFL players' jerseys as well as chains. Pretty sick. So check it out. Here's our Twitter. A lot of rumors going down, especially this morning with the trade deadline. We got you covered with all of it. When breaking news happens, talking during live games, all that. So at GoatHouse NFL on Twitter, there's a link pinned in the comments for that. Check it out. But the first game, and at the end, we'll kind of recap. Something new to this video. We'll kind of recap all the against the spread picks. But first game is Ravens at Bucks. Ravens are favored by only 1 point. I have the Ravens winning 24-20. And I'm kind of liking it at this moment. At first, I saw this game, lined up, Thursday Night Football, first game of Week 8. I'm like, man, the Bucs are really struggling, but this would be the time, prime time, for Tom Brady and company to kind of turn it around. So I'm like, I could see it, even though they're really struggling. The Ravens really aren't themselves either. I mean, they barely escaped the Browns. They kind of haven't been able to close out games properly. They got Mark Andrews hasn't practiced yet. The defense is it's getting better, still kind of adjusting though for sure. So I'm like, the Bucs could win that. But then I see, even though I was still picking the Ravens at that point, but then I'm seeing the guys that are out in the Buccaneers secondary. They're likely going to be without Antoine Winfield, Carlton Davis, Sean Murphy-Bunting, Logan Ryan. It's ridiculous. Winfield and Carlton Davis, the major ones if they're out. So that was enough for me. So I do like the Ravens here, 24-20. Let's see if Lamar can kind of get back on track, get things going. Gus Edwards was big time last week. A little limited in practice already, though. That's why they may need a running back. They got so many injuries going on there. So we'll see. Both teams could use a running back. Maybe at the trade deadline, we'll see. But I like the Ravens taking care of business, 24-20. Big reason, the injuries in the secondary for the Buccaneers, and they've just been struggling. Ravens are a team I definitely can see. I can see both teams getting better as the year goes on, but definitely the Ravens there. So we'll take the Ravens by 4 in that one. Actually should be a fun one Thursday night. Next, Broncos-Jags. This is a London game, 8:30 a.m., at least my time, ESPN Plus. And the Broncos have been struggling. Russell Wilson's been banged up, didn't play last week. The Jaguars seem to be the team of London. That's what it kind of feels like. So we'll see if it's like a home game for them. They're favored by 2.5. I see a lot of people out there picking the Jags straight up and against the spread. I went with the Broncos, and this is on if Russell Wilson is playing. It sounds like he's heading in the right direction. So if Russell Wilson does not play, I'll be switching my pick to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Did the same thing last week. In this video, I picked the Broncos to beat the Jets. Russell Wilson did not play. I switched my pick to the Jets, and how I broke that game down, it kind of went almost exactly. So, but if Russell Wilson plays, which I actually expect him to right now, I'm going to pick the Broncos. I love their defense. The Broncos defense. You wouldn't know it because the Broncos are really struggling right now. That defense is very, very solid. I think it's going to be a similar matchup for the Jaguars offense. And when they played the Texans and they really struggled, I'm not going to have them scoring 6 points, but it's a similar style matchup, so I do not see the Jags scoring a lot of points. Their best bet is ETN, who has been tearing it up lately, minus that fumble last week. So that's their best option. But I think the Broncos can maybe get a little bit of offense going if they have Russ in there. And they're getting a lot of trade calls on some of these guys, some of these big-time players, so they're kind of playing to keep these guys. If they lose, they may trade some of these guys too. So they're plus 2.5. I'd imagine that, just like the Ravens one, it's -1. I'd imagine that line changed a little bit. The Ravens become more favored. Same thing with this. I can see it getting to even, or if Russell Wilson plays, which I expect him to. So I like the Broncos. I like the Broncos defense to win this game, and maybe a little bit of improvements on offense for the Broncos here. So Jags can't close out games. There's games they outplay teams and they can't win them. So it's hard to trust them on top of it. But I'm going to go Broncos here, especially plus 2.5. Panthers and Falcons. Yeah, somewhat of a low-scoring game here. The Falcons favored by 4.5. I'm going to have them winning by 7. The tricky part is, the Panthers got a pretty solid defense. We saw it last week against the Bucs. And the Falcons, could you slow them down? I think the Falcons get the running game going. I think Mariota on the ground, Algier, these guys, on the ground do enough. Maybe they finally get Pitts going a little bit more. The Panthers, they got a little bit of offense going last week, especially downfield to DJ Moore. It was a great sight to see, and they ran the ball super effective, so they probably can do some damage on offense as well. The Falcons missing some corners, but it's kind of been 1 week we saw that for the Panthers. It's tough to fully trust them, so I'm going to go with the Falcons at home. If it was in Carolina, it'd be a tough one here, but I'm going to go Falcons at home, 23-16. Falcons maybe get back on track after a tough one against the Bengals there last week. Bears and Cowboys. The Bears looked very impressive Monday night against the Patriots. They've kind of implemented some new things on their offense. Looked like a whole different playbook. It looks like it's difficult to stop. Or maybe it was more so, the element of surprise. They surprised the Patriots with what they brought out there. That was a big factor. So now, a little bit's on tape. It's still going to be tough to stop, but you're going against the #1 defense in football, the Dallas Cowboys. So maybe a tough challenge for maybe the new and improved Bears, but a tough challenge to get. So I still don't, even though the Bears offense looks better, and I'm excited to watch it the rest of the year, tough task against the Cowboys. I don't expect them to score a whole lot. So I want to take the Cowboys 24-13, and second week with Dak back, kind of getting going here in this one. Maybe they can create some turnovers, as well. So Zeke might be out. Pollard, probably a better runner as it is, so more carries for Pollard. That might be a tough break for the Bears there. But I like the Cowboys in this one, winning 24-13 in Dallas. Next, Dolphins and Lions. I could see this being maybe a little bit of a trap game for the Dolphins. Maybe the Lions, finally break out when people get back on track when people least expect it. But they're playing some bad football right now. They got nothing going for them. They don't have offense. They don't got defense. The offense could, again, at any given week could spark and they can get some things going. They get a little bit going in this game here and there. The Dolphins a little beat up in the secondary. But still don't trust their defense. The offense is hard to trust, but again, then they can kind of here and there can get some things going. Defense, I don't trust it. The Dolphins came out very hot in the beginning of last game. It looked like this was an elite offense. Then it kind of slowed down. I think it's because the Steelers' defense is good. Number one, Mike Tomlin is very good at adjusting his defense kind of on the fly. I don't think that would be the case against the Lions' defense. So I like the Dolphins scoring 27 here. Again, I think the Lions could have some sparks on offense here and there, but I got the Dolphins just covering that 3.5, just covering it. But I do like the Dolphins in this game. Cardinals-Vikings, this could be a good one. I could see this one going either way. You see the line's at 3.5. It started off at 6, so it came down to 3.5. Would have loved the Cardinals. That's +6. But 3.5, and I got it a 3-point game, so the Cardinals just covering there. But, yeah, the Cardinals are tough to figure out because they're very capable of having explosive offense, very explosive day. The Vikings defense, it hasn't been great. I guess they're keeping teams out of the end zone more than you would think, but you could definitely move the ball. I think Murray can run them pretty well. So I think he could have a solid day, but it really isn't the defense that Murray and company have to play. It's really themselves. Are they going to shoot themselves in the foot? Are they going to, or make the big plays? So, yeah, it's a tough one. I almost like before last week, even though it was it's weird because I thought it was the Cardinals maybe the best game of the year last week against the Saints. Before that game, I thought this would be a better matchup for the Cardinals. Why? Because I think their defense could slow down the Vikings a lot more than I'm predicting now. But their defense was giving up a lot of easy plays to the Saints last week, and I think the Vikings kind of could pick some of that up on tape, and we know the Vikings have an explosive offense. Got to worry about the pass and the run game, so I'm going to trust the Vikings offense at home a little bit more here, but this could be a good game. I could see going either way. It's a good opportunity for the Cardinals to kind of get back on track here, but I'm going to go Vikings 27-24. Raiders and Saints. Raiders only favored by 2. I could see a little bit of a shootout in this one. I'm going to trust the Raiders a little bit more here. Josh Jacobs has been running wild. I think he'll do that in this game, and the Saints been beat up in the secondary. They just have not been playing like the Saints defense anyways, and I think Derek Carr can have a day through the air, so I got the Raiders scoring 31, and the Saints can get some things going on the ground, or on offense I should say, and maybe use Taysom Hill to kind of really throw off the Raiders game plan a little bit. We'll see what receivers are playing, but Olave has been playing pretty good for them. So I see some scoring in this one. Really, the key is just Andy Dalton taking care of the ball because they moved the ball super well, I thought, last game against the Cardinals. They just had 2 pick sixes. Very difficult to win or come back when you have 2 pick sixes. So I know I have some offense this one. I'm just going to trust the Raiders. Even though they have 2 wins, it's a very tough offense to stop because they're equally effective and really good on the ground and through the air there. So I like the Raiders -2. Patriots-Jets is a difficult one to pick, especially against the spread there. It's only 1.5, and it's like, I could see the Jets winning, so you want to go the Jets plus 1.5. But it's very, even though since I'm picking the Patriots, it's very easy to see them winning by a field goal, and that kind of blows the plus 1.5 there. So I can see this being a 1-point game, 2-point game, 3-point game. I really don't see it more than that. It's going to be 1, 2, or 3 in my opinion here. But I'm going to go Patriots. They're coming off a stinker. That's the best way to explain it, against the Bears. And there's some things out there on tape now that is not good, that aren't good for the Patriots. They don't even know what they're doing at the quarterback position. The quarterbacks aren't playing that well. I mean, Zappy was before this last game. So I think they'll go Mac Jones, though, which is probably the right choice. Now kind of reset everything. Maybe he's a little more healthy going into this week as well. So it's tough to pick the Patriots after that last game. The Jets are winning football games. They're playing great defense. But, and I see a lot of people picking the Jets in this game, and I very well could see it's realistic. But I think people aren't realizing how much of a factor Breece Hall and Elijah Vera Tucker being out. They're going to be out for the rest of the season, more than just this game. But the first game with those guys out, I know they bring in James Robinson, but the first game with those guys out trying to adjust, I think is massive. And that is literally why I'm going with the Patriots in this 50-50 game. If those two guys were playing, I'd be going with the Jets at home against the Patriots coming off a rough one. So I think adjusting without those guys. And then for, last week I picked the Broncos to beat the Jets in this video, but if you follow us on Twitter, you saw the post on YouTube. In the comments of this video, I did switch to the Jets once Russell Wilson was out, so I ended up being pretty accurate, especially on my take on that game. So this one, for right now, I'm definitely going to go. I know there's not supposed to be any weird injuries, not like the Russell Wilson one last week. I'm going to go Patriots, because game that can go either way. And again, those injuries, I think the first, Breece Hall was their main source of offense. In a game like this where it's defense, who's going to make that extra splash play? Breece Hall's been doing at least one of those every game, so that'd be a good reason to pick Breece Hall and the Jets. And then Elijah Vera Tucker, who's their best offensive lineman, been playing tackle and guard for them sometimes, or either one. He starts out the year a guard, obviously, to filling in that tackle. That's just major loss. And Bill Belichick will be able to dial up some ways to get pressure on Zach Wilson, put the blitz on him, and put him in uncomfortable situations. So, but the Jets defense by itself could win this game, but I think the Patriots kind of make that one extra play here. Maybe it's on defense. I think Breece Hall mainly and Elijah Vera Tucker being out and trying to adjust 1 week after that. It's a dagger in a game like this. They could still win, but that's the difference. I'd be picking the Jets, and I'd be very confident with it, actually, if they had those guys. So Patriots catch a break there. Steelers and Eagles, plus 11 for the Steelers, minus 11 for the Eagles. It's a big spread. I just don't see the Steelers scoring much. I don't think the Eagles will score that much. Steelers defense is pretty solid. That's a tough one, too, because I can see like a 20-10 or 23-13. That just makes it just under that 11 for the Eagles. I just don't see the Steelers doing much. It's a tough matchup going against this Eagles defense in Philly. For Pickett, the way they rush Hassan Reddick, it'd be tough for a young quarterback to read at the line, like where's this guy coming from, and lockdown corners on the outside. It's going to kind of take away those sideline throws, though. They'll probably try to play the dink and dunk like they have been doing. They're going to have to get the ball out quick. I just don't see you getting a lot of points doing that. Could be a lot of running clock. Hurts running the ball as well. I think the Steelers defense plays an all right game too, but just not enough offensively for the Steelers. We'll go Eagles with yet another win, 23-10. Maybe the bye slowed them down. I don't think so. Maybe. Titans and Texans. Titans are -2. Maybe it could be a trap game. The Titans, for some reason, just remembering them the last few years when they've been good, they kind of slip up again when you least expect it and against kind of the teams you would least expect too. So maybe, but you look at the matchup. Here. The Texans are dead last in stopping the run. Worst run defense in football right now, and they are playing the Derrick Henry, the king, of the running back position here. So, and he's really getting going lately. Started the year off a little slow. I don't know if it was a Derrick Henry issue. It was more the play calling and the offense, the team getting down on the offense, but he's really getting going. So I don't want to overthink this one. Yes, I could see the upset because that's kind of what the Titans do. It's what the Texans pull off. But Derrick Henry should run wild in this game. I think they should have control of the clock, control of the possession, control of the points. They don't score a whole lot, though. I think Derrick Henry should get in the end zone, probably twice, but I just don't expect a whole lot. The Titans been playing a very, very good defense as well, so that definitely helps. So I got the Titans covering that too. I like that mainly because their defense and Derrick Henry in this one, so just not enough from the Texans, but we'll see. Next, Commanders and Colts, a very difficult one to pick, but against the spread, I got to go with the Commanders +3, but I got the Colts winning by 1 point, an absolute squeaker here. Just tough to figure out because the Commanders are getting better. They're getting better on defense. They might have more of that clutch ability with Heineke in there as well, but mainly they're getting better on defense. They started the year off pretty bad, and they've been getting going. They've been getting going recently, so they've been playing pretty good defense. We know the Colts can play good defense. Sometimes they slip up against the run. It's weird. They look really, really good against the run one week, and then they're awful the next week. They did already have to play Derrick Henry twice, so keep that in mind. Derrick Henry's not on the Commanders, even though their run game's pretty decent. So which run defense will show up for the Colts? That's a big question. But a bigger question, how will Ehlinger be? How will Sam Ehlinger be? And him out of Texas, I wasn't really a big fan. I kind of saw some accuracy issues that could result in more interceptions in the NFL. But I think he could be solid in a game like this. I think the main thing is the game plan factor. There's no tape on Ehlinger. There's tape on Matt Ryan. Two totally different quarterbacks. So this whole offense changes here. So that's very tough on the Commanders. Like, what do we do here? What do we got to expect? So I actually think Ehlinger and the running game led by Taylor could run very well on the Commanders, even though they have a solid run defense. They do. I just think getting Ehlinger outside, maybe some read options, some RPO, which the Colts ran a lot last year, so they're familiar with that. Taylor ran very well with that, remember? And that actually, I started to talk about that in the offseason too. Like RPO could actually open up the run game because teams are kind of, is it run or is it pass? We got to worry about two options on this play. So really, it could open things up for a very good running back like Jonathan Taylor. So I think Ehlinger has a pretty good game because of that. It's kind of the surprise, like what do we expect? So that is the reason I'm going to predict the Colts in this one. I think the Commanders could adjust maybe at halftime for Ehlinger, make it close. But I do like the Colts defense as well. Not just the Commanders here. So I'm going to take the Colts in this one for those reasons, kind of the game plan, the surprise factor, maybe the running game surprisingly getting going for the Colts. But I'm surprised they're favored by 3. I know that's not that big, but and I could see a push. I don't know if I see them winning by more than 3 though. So it almost feels safe with Commanders here because it's either a push or the Commanders cover. But I'll take the Colts. I think it's going to be one of those games where like 1 second it's looking like there's a lot of offense going on, and in 1 second it's just dead. It's kind of all defense. It could be one of those games. We get those games here and there. We get them quite a bit, actually. So should be a fun one to watch. Niners and Rams. Niners are favored by 1.5. Rams off the bye at home. Niners pretty beat up. The Rams are beat up as well. I could see the Rams pulling it up. I just don't want to overthink things here. One, which is not really the biggest point, but the Niners always give the Rams the business. They always give them problems here. There's just some kind of matchup issue, but number 2, why I don't want to overthink it, is the Rams' offense line's been really, really struggling, and they're even more injured now because Noteboom's out this time around. Teams that get good pass rush, they struggle with because the offense line struggles with anybody, and then Stafford struggles. Then if the pass rush gets after him, he turns the ball over, and that's still present. It still exists, and the Niners have a very good pass rush. They have a very good defense. They actually could get Armstead back this week, which gives you an edge presence and an interior presence. It kind of opens things up for some other guys like Nick Bosa. So I think that's just the difference right there. I think the Niners pass rush gets after Matt Stafford because the struggling offense line of LA here, and that's the difference. I think McCaffrey has a pretty good game as well. Rams, we're very close to getting them the Niners, their rival, who they're playing this week, second week in there for McCaffrey, first full week of practice. I think he could have a day. Maybe makes the Rams pay a little bit for not offering a little bit more and going and getting them. We'll see. But I'm feeling definitely more comfortable. Like again, Rams off the bye, home, adjusting maybe this time to playing the Niners. Maybe they figured something out. I could see it, but there's more logic to picking the Niners for the reasons I explained here. So, and 1.5, I got them covering that. It should be a really close game. We'll see, but it should be a fun one, yeah. Giants and Seahawks, a very difficult one to pick. Here, I did pick the Jags beat the Giants last week, and it was very close. I was pretty damn close to my score. Felt like it was going to be my score for a little bit. And I did think the Jags, watching that game, outplayed the Giants. They're kind of constantly in their territory. The Giants just clutch up, made good plays, controlled the time of possession at the end of the game there. So they could very well do the same thing here. And that'd be the reason for the Giants in this game. Run Saquon Barkley, which he's been running wild on everyone. He can run wild for sure on that Seahawks run defense. And then just dominate the time of possession. Keep the ball out of Geno Smith's hands, who's been making splash plays to kind of get them leads, get them wins. So that could be a big reason the Giants win. But the Seahawks, both these defenses are really struggling to stop the run. For whatever reason, teams against the Giants have been going away from the run when they're clearly running very, very well, like every week. So somebody's going to figure it out at some point. But Seahawks run the ball very, very well with Kenneth Walker. He's been tearing it up. So the Giants have to worry about what they know. We can't stop the run. This guy's a beast. They're running very, very well. They're run blocking very well. He can run outside, inside. We got to watch out for that. But the Seahawks also can beat you with the pass. Geno Smith's been tearing up downfield. It's tough with DK out. That makes it extremely tough. I'd be very confident if DK was in this game, but that makes it really tough. But I think it's going to be another one of those games where I think we're going to get big plays, a lot of offense, but why is it only 26-23, which is a decent score, in terms of points, amount of points. But I think there's going to be a lot of running clock. With both these teams struggles to stop the run and both these big-time running games and running backs, I think there's going to be a lot of running clock. So this is actually pretty high scoring considering that. But I think that extra splash play from the Seahawks, like I said, they can beat you with the pass as well, which Jones and the Giants been doing all right, with that. They've been a little beat up at the receiver position, and I do like the Seahawks defense is getting better as well. Not that I consider it that great, but I'll take the Seahawks. At home is a big factor. If this was in New York with DK out like it's supposed to be, I'd probably take the Giants. So I think the home field is big here. We'll see if the Giants can keep rolling, though. Both these teams a lot better than expected. We'll give them that for sure. Sunday night football, Packers-Bills. Packers really been struggling, but, prime time, Aaron Rodgers, everyone's doubting them. I could kind of see them figuring it out, but that's really the only logic behind picking the Packers. Their pass defense has been pretty solid, but it's a different animal going against Josh Allen and the boys. But maybe they score a little bit less than expected because of that, but I think Josh Allen gives them problems. And their defense has been pretty solid as well. So I'm going to go a 10-point win for the Bills, 30-20. They just got more. They're just better on both sides of the ball. You got Josh Allen. You got those weapons that the Packers don't have. You got running game probably could side with the Packers, but the Bills are doing a very good job stopping the run. And defensively, the Bills, the Packers are decent. The Bills have been playing much better there. So I'm going to go Bills 30-20 in this one. It could be a fun one Sunday night. It was supposed to be more exciting than what it's kind of looking like now, but yeah, again, I could see Rodgers, maybe shocking the world here on prime time. And then Monday night is a tough one to pick against the spread, too. I mean, it was 3.5. I got the Bengals winning by 4. I kind of can argue both sides here. I could see the Browns winning as well. The Bengals are hot right now, though. The Browns' defense has been a little underwhelming this year. So I think Burrow and those weapons could have a day. The issue is it's a little bit different of a matchup. They're going against more of a zone team. The Bengals feast off the man coverage. So could the zone give them problems? It could, but they still are just too talented to not be able to do something this one. But could Myles Garrett and that pass rush give them problems? That's definitely possible there. But I got the Bengals scoring 27 just because they're on a roll. They're just too talented here. I think the Browns corners kind of have some issues. Safeties have some issues covering these guys. And I think Mixon could do it all right as well. But then the Browns, Nick Chubb could have a day. He's been having a day, but they haven't been running him enough. But that could be their keys to winning this game. Pounding Nick Chubb, controlling the time possession, winning that game, that way. So I can see it. But the score I was feeling here is 27-23 Bengals. So they, that'd be covering by the half a point there, covering by winning by 4. So it's something new I added this that I definitely should be doing every single week is kind of recapping who I picked against the spread. So you can pause the video, take a look at those ones. There was a push. I had the Seahawks winning by 3, and that was a push. I had the Seahawks winning the game, and if I had to choose, I'd probably go them at home -3, but that's one probably to stay away from. The Patriots -1.5 is a very difficult one. There's a lot that were pretty close this week. Some of those are pretty damn difficult. The Bengals one is a very difficult one against the spread as well there. But some that stood out, Ravens -1, Broncos +2.5, games like that. Raiders -2, Titans -2, Commanders +3. So some stand out actually this week. So, so there's some good ones. So, feel free to pause the video and check those out if you're interested. But, that wraps up this week's score predictions, picks against the spread. We're back every single week with this. If you're looking for some more opinions, our straight-up picks, we have some other guys on the channel that join me on that one, so you kind of get some different perspectives on things. And then we have power rankings, a lot more. Trade deadline videos already out, more to come. It's getting closer. A lot of the rumors starting to heat up. I'm excited. So join us, like, subscribe, turn notifications on. Make sure you follow us on Twitter. Link pinned in the comments for anything you're looking for. That's going to do it. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.